This week, we talk Nintendo Switch Online and the possibility of a digital-only Switch coming in the future. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Barry, and this is episode 41 of the Retro Gaming Dads podcast, the podcast for everything retro and retro-inspired. So, did you have a good Halloween?
I did indeed. We had a party with some of my in-laws, which was quite nice. It was nice to have a bit of a party with family. Lots of sweeties. I regret it, but...
Not as much as I regret the sweets. Elliot unfortunately
Oh, no,
was...
not you, your son.
Yeah, unfortunately had a few too many sweets and decided to vomit all over his bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that was
Lovely.
fun.
Could have been worse.
Although, on the plus side, I did get to do a pumpkin, or 7, and managed to sneak a Sonic the Hedgehog pumpkin in there.
Didn't you do a Sonic the Hedgehog one last year as well?
No.
Okay.
That's the first time I've done anything other than just a bog standard pumpkin.
You would
face.
happily do one every year, though, if you could.
Yes.
What have you been playing at the minute?
In all fairness, the only thing I've been playing is Rift Breaker.
Well, as you know, it was my birthday last week, and you got me the new Gun and Breaker game. It says new, it came out in 2018, but it's called
new
New
to
Gun
you.
and Breaker. Yeah, it's new to me, and I've been really enjoying that, and also playing the Rift Breaker, same as you as well. So been having quite a bit of fun playing some games, and Samson's been playing New Gun and Breaker as well, so he's really started enjoying that, and he's done he's able to do a lot more than I thought. With him being 6, I wasn't quite sure of how much you'd explore, and he will go through menus and he'll do all the attachments, accessories, and he'll do it all himself. I didn't tell him how to do it at all. He just figured it out.
Yeah, it's when he goes, "Daddy, what's this format game mean?"
Yeah, I've already warned him. He deletes my save. He's done for.
He's up for adoption.
Yeah, if he gets there.
Well, should we hop into some quick news, and then we've got a bit to talk about Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, we do. Let's ping off the first one. I guess the first one to come across is about PlayStation is finally actually getting PlayStation PC label for their PC games.
Yes, so it looks like they're going to start investing a lot more energy and time in these PC ports that have been cropping up over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, I don't think that's a bad thing. You get a lot of Xbox games coming to PC, such as Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon 5. The more people that can play PlayStation titles, I think the better. We've already had a few like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes. So, I guess PlayStation are starting to expand, much like Xbox did quite a while ago. So they're a bit slow, not as slow as Nintendo, because Nintendo aren't even there yet at all.
No.
But
Do you ever think we'll see Nintendo games on PC?
I would like to think we would, but I don't feel like we will. I don't think they will bring to PC. Mainly because if they did bring to PC, they'd actually have to give some stability and some support to the games compared to, deleting the market in 3 years' time. I'm not worried about it.
Well, that's foreshadowing what we'll be talking about a bit later. But
It's true.
in all fairness, if you asked me at the beginning of the last generation when the PlayStation 4 came out, would Sony be releasing their titles on PC? I'd have said no. I'd say Microsoft probably would after they'd been released on Xbox One for a while, but
you kind
I
of
wouldn't have thought
Microsoft
PlayStation would have had any.
always have assumed would have done.
Yeah.
With them being such a computer giant, you'd have thought it would at some point be more crossover. And now it's very rare to ever see a game that doesn't come out on both platforms at the same time.
Yeah.
You'll be hard pressed and surprised not to see it happen. Xbox you could kind of see was going to happen. PlayStation, I guess, was a grey area, and then Nintendo, just blacklisting it. Don't think it will happen.
Yeah, they like to keep tight control over their IPs. So
Yes.
I don't know, maybe one day, but I can't see it in the near future.
No.
So the next bit of news, which caught us off guard, is Netflix is launching the game streaming service as of today.
Yeah, absolutely just out of nowhere. I was actually sat there scrolling through last night. I was like, hang on a minute, what am I reading here? I was like, oh shoot, they're releasing it as of today.
Yep.
But I have not had a tab appear on my Netflix app though.
Oh, haven't you?
It's currently only on Android. iOS will be coming soon. just not yet. It's only on Android for now. I actually did have an update for Netflix today, and I thought that might be it. This might be given my games tab.
Yeah.
I've not seen it, or I can't find it. It is going to be part of your subscription, so it's not an extra tier on top of it like Nintendo did. It's all embedded
Again, a
together.
bit of
There is
foreshadowing.
again so far it's only with 5 games though, which is Strange Things
Wow.
1984, Strange Things 3, Card Blast, Teeter Up, and Shooting Hoops.
Yeah, from
Which
what I've seen, there's 2 games and 3 time wasters. I don't think Car Blast, Teeter Up, and Shooting Hoops, from what I've seen, what you would expect as a full game.
okay,
They're,
this
ki-
was
they're
like
the kind
art.
of thing that you
Well,
used to get on public domain floppy disks back on the Amiga days, or
oh, what do you mean like something that'll come like a comic saying it's a free game on a floppy disk,
yeah, yeah,
that sort of thing?
exactly that sort of thing. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they do in the future.
It will. I would have liked to have given it a try before the podcast today. Just unfortunately, I've just checked now. It's still not there.
Well, while you're waiting for that on your phone, there is a new Nintendo title coming to mobile phone, Pikmin Bloom, which is out now as well.
Is it out now?
Yep.
We had no release date though.
Yeah, I didn't see a release date, but I noticed it was on today, but it wasn't on the other day when we mentioned it.
Okay. Yeah, because we were looking at this earlier this week.
Yeah. I think it
Where's
was
the crop
Sunday,
from?
weren't it? We were talking about it last and we checked it. But it's there now. It's on the App Store.
I'm really confused because we were like, we have no idea when it's coming. Oh, it's gonna be surprised we find out about it.
Yeah, in all fairness, don't think we have much idea about anything half the time.
No, we actually wing it. We don't tell as much. We
Yeah,
actually do
I'm
kind of just
sure people can't
go.
tell.
Here's some
So
notes.
so
Let's just go
flawless
with
and
it.
professional. They'll never tell we're winging it.
Shh,
But
they give it away.
your
No,
thoughts on this? Basically, another Pokemon Go style title.
it is, and I can't see why they've chosen Pikmin because I don't see it being a massive title. Pokemon, massive world renowned phenomenon. It's hard pressed to go to who hasn't heard of Pokemon. Pikmin, I think it's an interesting choice. I don't think I've ever played a Pikmin game, if I'm honest with you.
I've played the one on the GameCube. It's it looks very bare bones, even compared
It
to Pokemon Go, which I wouldn't say was a very in-depth title.
no, to me, there's like a farming simulation game sort of thing.
Well, there's definitely a lot of crossover between Pokemon Go and Pikmin Bloom. So
Yes.
instead of hatching eggs by walking, you're planting seeds and growing them by walking. Instead of gyms, you've got flowers. But there's not really anything competitive on it, from what I've seen from the trailer, at least.
Talking about, walking and hatching eggs or, planting seeds. I'm sorry, if I was walking a seed 5 kilometers, then get a flower, I'd be like, oh yay, it's a yellow flower. Whereas you're walking, hatch a Pokemon, you're like, yeah, I got myself a Pikachu.
Yeah, it's
I-
not real Pikachu, though.
It's not a real flower.
Well, yeah, in all fairness.
I mean, I guess it is in your little augmented reality garden that you can pop onto the floor or whatever to see what you're doing. But
Well, no, those seeds become your Pikmin.
oh, okay,
So it isn't like just a little flower. It's actually a
it's an
Pikmin.
actual Pikmin that you
It
can
grows
use.
into a Pikmin.
I mean, they might introduce some sort of battle system with fighting enemies, like you said, and throwing the Pikmin at them. So you have to
Yeah.
build your army of Pikmin, I guess, to do that with.
I
But
think it could lend
it's
itself to like raids where you might need 1,000 Pikmin to take down this one creature or something similar. So you
yeah,
need to get quite a few players to all, well, basically dogpile this one enemy, I guess.
jump on everyone, let's go. I will hope that with them working with Niantic, after Niantic doing such a good job with Pokemon Go, all the content that's coming on Pokemon Go, Niantic know what they're doing. They know what people want and how to do it. With such a good success as Pokemon Go, and didn't they also do Harry Potter as well?
I'm not sure, but they did another one before Pokemon Go, which unfortunately the name escapes me. So they've done, including Pikmin Bloom, they've done at least 3 titles.
Yeah. So you'd have hoped that with Niantic being the company they are, knows what they're doing and will produce something out of it to entice people into play it.
Yeah,
So I guess it's just
they're
to watch the
definitely the
space.
company that specializes in these sort of augmented reality walking type games. I don't know what you class it as, to be honest. Walking collectathons.
Socializing game?
Nah, don't be
Let's
silly.
go walk and hatch a flower. But it's not one that I think I'm gonna pick up though, unfortunately. It's not my sort of, Pokemon Go, yep, all over that. Pikmin Bloom.
No, I'm not really not in a snobby way, but I'm not really a kind of person that has any games on the phone. May have one or two occasionally, but no, again, it's not a title that interests me at all.
You look at my phone, I've got like 25 games on my phone.
Well, if that isn't your type of game and you do want some games to play on the go, then the new Nintendo Switch Online service has, should we say, some mixed reception with the N64 titles?
Mixed reception. I'm sorry. What did I say was the first thing that came up when I looked on YouTube? It was, I purchased the expansion set. Please do not make the same mistake that I did.
Yes.
It's not been received at all.
No, no, it hasn't been received well
Everyone's
at all.
smashing it.
Graphical downgrades, input lag, which
Yeah,
apparently the Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo Switch Online plays and looks worse than the Mario 64 that was released as part of the 3D All Stars.
which makes no sense. You're literally downloading the game onto your Switch and playing it
Yeah.
from your Switch. It's not like you're streaming or anything.
And as far as I'm aware, it's actually using the same emulator that's in Mario 3D All Stars as well.
For a service you've had to pay extra for, you'd have thought they'd have put a lot more work into it.
Yeah.
Um, the graphical difference isn't just small, it's a
No,
big difference.
when a system that released in 1997, the game looks better on that system than it does a console that released 20 years later. You know that something's gone wrong there. And this isn't uncommon. Halo's another example of this. Master Chief Collection 343 are only just fixing the graphical issues with Halo 2.
Yeah, so you can understand it, but
Yeah.
something like I know Massive Collection did have issues at the start, but it was playable, it was
Oh yeah,
usable.
no, I'm
It
more
wasn't.
on about the graphical issues at the moment.
Yes. Oh yeah.
But in all fairness, the difference between Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Halo 2 graphically is enormous.
Yes.
And on top of that as well, a lot of people are saying that all these N64 style controllers that you can get, not the official one that Nintendo are doing, which they've now said they won't be selling for the rest of the year,
Yes.
but all the third party ones that work with the Switch, apparently the button configuration, it's just awful. It's unplayable with these controls. And the game itself doesn't let you remap controls. So although you may physically have the right buttons in the right places, it just looks insane how they've mapped some of these buttons. I think I'm trying to think what game it might have been. Mario, Super Mario
Okay.
64. So A and B are A and B,
Yeah.
but compared to an N64 controller, they're in the wrong places. But then X and Y is kind of like C stick left and C stick down.
What?
It doesn't really make sense. But then your right analog stick is your C stick up, down, left, and right, which in some games like Mario 64 is fine. But then in Legend of Zelda, where they're used as individual buttons,
It doesn't work at all.
yeah, it's not a good launch. They needed to launch it. Graphical issues, you can kind of look. Graphical issues you can kind of overlook, but kind of spoils the experience right off the bat. Add on top of that, really poor input lag.
The latency and
Yeah.
the but okay, with the graphic issues though, you don't mind the graphical issues if it's not too big of a jump. This isn't, as I said, we're not talking about a small
No,
difference.
no, these are significant, especially with stages with fog in it.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, you're paying for this package. You're expecting to better play these games.
Oh yeah, I forgot we haven't even mentioned the price.
Yeah, well, I think we mentioned it before, didn't we, on the last podcast?
Yeah,
On
but
the
we haven't mentioned that on top of all these issues, if you're in the UK and you've got a family pack, it's nearly an extra £30.
yeah, so you've paid this extra £30 and you're literally getting just pile of crap.
Yeah, you're getting some good games, but you're getting possibly some of the worst versions of those games.
And not only this though, something like Banjo-Kazooie is coming across. And how do you think Microsoft's going to feel now with everything's coming on?
Well, yeah, they're probably not going to be too happy if it's, again, a bad port of one of their titles.
Well, if it's going to be a bad port, I guarantee you Phil Spencer would rather see the port first before it goes across. And if it's going to be a
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
port, but like, let's just pull it. Phil
absolutely.
wouldn't want it damaging the game, and it's affecting the Microsoft branding.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
affecting their IP.
Banjo-Kazooie was a massive thing. The fact that it's coming across onto, onto the service for people to play on the Switch.
Yeah.
If that gets pulled, imagine the backlash from that.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't be happy with that at all.
No. So Nintendo's not having a great time at all.
Yeah, the launch hasn't gone well.
No, not at all. But
Um,
aside from this also, have you seen about the OLED? They've had to cut back on a lot of the production because they're out of chips as well.
yeah, that's pretty much just the whole tech sector in general. They're just,
Yeah, it's true.
whether it's cars, consoles, PCs.
But it's just another thing that's hitting them at the minute as well.
Yeah. Although the OLED is actually getting some really good reviews.
Yes, people are saying that they're a lot more impressed with it than I thought.
Yeah, the screen apparently, even though it is 720p, does look pretty good. And while we're talking about new revisions of the Switch, have you heard the rumors that were going around last week about potential of a digital only Switch?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. What is that? Nintendo don't do it, or people out listening to this don't buy it?
Both.
Both.
Don't do it.
No, I agree
Because
with you on that one.
A, you'll regret buying it after Nintendo shut the stores, and B, Nintendo, you'll just screw people over. So please don't do it.
Yeah. I must admit, Nintendo haven't inspired confidence in their online store. I've said this
No.
before. Almost all my Xbox games, like over 200 Xbox games, are digital. I only actually have, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 physical Xbox One or Series S and X games. Switch, I'm completely reversed. I've got maybe like 20, 30 physical games and only 1 or 2 digital games.
Yeah, same as me. I think I've got about 3 or 4 digital, but that was only because there was an offer at like 85, 90% off. So they're only like not more than £3.
Yeah,
Say Pokemon, I couldn't get it physically. If I could not get a copy, I would not then go buy it digitally because,
no.
say, a few years down the line, they might just end up taking the service out that they have previously. So why do I want to lose my game?
Not only that, Nintendo's service for playing online games. So I had 2 Switches. I had a normal original launch Switch and a Switch Lite. And I like playing the Switch Lite, when I'm lying in bed and that. So I used to play Stardew Valley, which is the only digital game I own. If for some reason it took a little bit too long connecting to Nintendo servers, or if I took it out and about with me, I couldn't play it because it couldn't call back to the server to keep checking I was connected online and that I hadn't started playing it on a different system or something.
Yeah,
It's not very
I th-
seamless.
it needs to be connected to some sort of internet the entire time you're trying
Yeah,
to
and
play
for
it.
a device that doesn't have any sort of LTE, 5G, cellular connection, anything like that, it's pointless once you leave the house. Now, that's the whole point of having a handheld system.
Yeah, so unless you have physical games in your Switch, you ain't gonna be playing it. Or you could be sat on a bus going from, I don't know, say went from London to Edinburgh. You ain't gonna play on the Switch if you
Well,
got digital games.
well, yeah. I understand that they need to connect back and check that you can play the game, but I don't see why they need to do it every single time. And what are you going to do? You can't refund the game. So it's not as if you've got to have the game and then refund it. And they're like, oh, it's still on my system. I can play it.
A digital only Switch will not do well at all. Because my other massive thing is if they release this digital Switch, they obviously use whatever you know um marketplace they use. So they do use the Nintendo eShop. Fair enough. Say 5, 6 years after that Switch gets released, they close that eShop. you then have just a paperweight. You can't sell that
Yeah,
because even if you sold that on, well, if they can't access the eShop, A, how are they going to buy more games? Or B, if they did close the eShop, how are you supposed to download them if you haven't already got downloaded on Switch?
yeah. The only way I could see this being viable, and I still wouldn't trust Nintendo enough with the online store policies to actually purchase a digital only console, is if they made a cut down, a cheaper version of, say, the Switch Lite, the current Switch Lite, and it was digital only, maybe it was 150 instead of £200. They would need to have that store running for absolute bare minimum of 5 more years. Not 5 years since the Switch was released, but 5 years from the launch of that Switch.
Yeah,
Now, I think if perhaps when the inevitable Switch 2 or whatever they call it, probably like the new the
Switch
new Switch
2X
U Deluxe or
Deluxe.
yeah, XL, but whatever that's called. If
Triple
that
XL.
is backwards compatible with the current Switch and can still use the same eShop, then a bit like Microsoft and I think PlayStation, but I haven't got a PlayStation 4 or 5, so I'm not 100% sure. But on the Xbox, whether you've got an Xbox One or an Xbox Series X or S, it's the same storefront. So from Microsoft's point of view, well, they can just maintain that one store still. I know they still maintain the 360 store as well, separate.
Well, saying that, funny enough, Kingdom for Keflinks. I actually downloaded that the other day. I remember when I bought that on the original, on the 360.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can still go in and download that game. Because I had the original and the second one. And I can still download that game and still play that game.
Well, yeah, it's like
How
for
long ago did that game come out? And it's just same storefront. If Nintendo supported their storefronts, it would be a different story.
yeah, but Nintendo have a track record of once they move on to the next console. So when they went from the Wii to the Wii U, or even the 3DS to the Switch, within a year or so, they're starting to shutter down the storefronts.
I don't get why the Wii and Wii U were different stores.
Well, the Wii U had its own store, but could also access the Wii storefront because
Okay.
it could, well, it could run in like Wii mode.
Oh yeah, you have to change the dashboard as well and everything changed.
Yeah, it
It
changes
couldn't just
back to
be
the
a
original Wii. But
yeah.
especially the first foray into it, which was the Nintendo DSi, that died so quick. I didn't even realize they'd shut it. I just thought, oh, do you know what? I'm going to download. I think it was Bomberman, and I was
Okay.
going to re-download it. It was like, oh, what do you mean? I can't connect to it anymore. It's gone. I don't know. This is definitely the problem with going digital only. Like even Microsoft's Xbox Store and even Steam, eventually there will become a point when they'll shut. They will shut eventually. Now, whether it's
Oh,
in a decade or 50 years, I have no idea. But I'm sure there will become a point.
oh, talk about
Um,
Steam. How many games do you have on Steam?
I don't know how many humble bundles have there been.
Exactly.
That's
You know,
where 99% of my games come from.
let's say you've got 300 games on there,
Yeah,
and at different points, you could happily jump in and play them again. You've purchased them over so many years. Steam does go down. You will be severely disappointed.
yeah,
And as you said, it is an eventuality which might happen. Nothing unfortunately lasts forever anymore.
no.
Well, nothing ever
But
did,
I
but
was going to say, I
nothing
don't
lasts
think it
forever.
ever did.
So, but I think the main thing here is Nintendo's track record with the stores, which is the biggest roadblock they've got.
Yeah. Do you think if they did release a digital only Switch, which of these would be the lesser of two evils? If they released a really budget version of the current Switch, I say it like maybe like a variation of the Switch Lite, but which is digital only. Maybe took a hit of 50 quid off the price because they're going to make that money back. They make more money from selling digital titles rather than
Yeah.
physical. Publisher as well. Publishers would prefer you to buy the games digitally because one, they get a big cut, but two, you can't then trade that in and someone else buy it. That other person buying a traded in version. publisher
Yeah, it
doesn't
gets
get any of
doubled
that
to 'em.
money. But unfortunately, with digital, brick and mortar stores like Game or GameStop, they're the ones who suffer in that case.
I enjoy going into game. I
Yeah.
like going there, seeing different games, seeing different us, picking them up. I would rather them not do a digital only console. I miss something like blockbusters and that. I miss those sort of stores.
If they did make a digital only version, so obviously one of them is to make a cheaper version of the current Switch, or do what both Microsoft and Sony have done with the Xbox and PlayStation, release, say, the next generation Switch and have a premium model, where you can actually put your own games in. How novel. Or have a slightly cheaper version where it's a digital only version.
I don't really know. If I'm completely honest, I'm starting to get to the point where I actually have a couple of discs upstairs of games. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll play it. Well, I can't because I've not got a disc drive in my Series S. So I'm like, I play upstairs, but I don't want to sit upstairs. I like sitting in the front room with my nice big TV.
Yeah. See, I must admit, I'm excited to get my Steam Deck whenever that is, whether it's this year or next year. I feel more confident in that purchase because, worst case, I can just chuck Windows 10 or 11 on there and run games from elsewhere. I don't have to run them through Steam OS.
I was about to say you can just change it.
Well, worst case, maybe like 5, 10 years down the line where it just can't handle new games, I could just make it into a dedicated emulation device.
Come on, Tony, you're missing a trick here. Make it so you can change the OS on the Switch.
Yeah, well, actually, you can put Android on it.
I don't see that going well though.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video quite a while ago. Quite a few people putting Android on it, and it it worked, but it didn't seem like it was a fantastic experience.
No, I wouldn't want to. I'd rather give me if I had a Switch I could put Windows onto. I think I'd be pretty happy.
Maybe not on that resolution and that.
No, but okay on the OLED then.
Yeah.
Fine.
Well, the OLED's still same resolution. Saying that, the Steam Deck isn't much better either way.
Anyway,
Are we agreed in saying that the digital only version of the Switch is a bad idea? And if they do it, do not buy it.
do I need to give you an honest answer?
But you can give me a dishonest answer if you want.
Dishonest. Oh, yeah, no, I can't even bring myself to give you a dishonest answer. If I'm
Can't even
honest,
bring yourself to
I
lie.
can't even do it. I went to go sarcastic. I was like, I can't even do it.
No.
Do not do it, Nintendo. Do not. And if they do it, don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't mind digital only consoles, but not at the expense of physical media. I would still wouldn't even mind it if like publishers started selling the physical games as like, launch date versions or something or limited edition or something. That wouldn't even bother me if they were in more limited quantities, but I just don't want to see the end of physical media.
Do you know what I just thought of?
Go on.
I've just thought we talk about physical media, and you don't like to see the end of physical media, and about digital. When was the last time you bought a computer game physically?
A computer game as in console or specifically PC Mac?
A console for your PC?
Um about a week ago.
Wait,
Oh no, sorry, for me
you, no,
sorry.
like as in a
Sorry.
disc?
Yeah,
As
you
in a
just said console
disc?
for your PC. You confused me.
Whatever.
So,
Okay.
sorry,
When
a
was the last time
PC
you
game.
physically bought a PC game to put into your PC and play on it?
I don't know, like 2003. I own a Mac. I don't buy games.
Well, regardless,
But
I
no.
cannot remember the last time.
No,
I
I
think World of
can't.
Warcraft was. I got an expansion set, and that
It
was
was
over
probably,
10
do you
years
know what?
ago.
It was probably Dawn of War 2.
Okay.
I've got that and the expansion packs. I bought a few games around them, which so I reckon that would have been 2008-ish.
PC has been knocking around doing digital only, if I'm completely honest,
Yeah.
for you look at 20 years easily, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. But the thing
And you
with
can still
that,
play some of those games.
you can
The
play the
majority,
vast
sorry.
majority of them. You
Yeah.
can use DOSBox to go back and play games from like pre Windows 95 era.
So
But that's the thing with
PC is
PC.
proved. Yeah, PC's different to consoles,
Yes.
but PC's proved it can be done.
Yeah.
PC's there. Now, I feel like Xbox would go to the same route.
Yeah,
I
it
feel like,
definitely
if
does feel
anything,
like that's the route Microsoft taking the Xbox, and
yeah,
even to a lesser degree, but Sony with the PlayStation. And I think this is the right route to be going down.
yeah, I reckon it will turn digital. I reckon that will come to a point where there is no more physical games. I just feel sad for the day that happens.
Yeah. What I would say though is, and I might be completely wrong with this, I feel like console gamers like collecting the physical products as well as playing the games. Whereas PC gamers, especially now, there's this whole generation of PC gamers now that are teenagers that have never ever seen a big box game, PC game, on the shelf in Game or GameStop or wherever.
No, it is weird to me to walk into some shops and see it say PC.
Yeah, it's usually a couple of peripherals and some Steam cards, isn't it?
Yeah, and so it's a shock sometimes to walk into a shop. I'm like, it's a PC game. It's a PC game. Look,
Yeah, but what is that PC game? Is it just a Steam card?
it's I don't know. I don't. The case looks like it should have a disc in it.
Wow, that's another thing. The amount of Switch games. Well, I'm sure there's other systems as well, but there's loads of games now you can buy physical digital games.
Yes.
So you get an actual case, but inside there's a code printed. That's it. There's no cartridge.
So you have this case that's just redundant.
Well, yeah, it is.
But anyway, we've got one more bit of news, haven't we, at the end of this all?
Go on then.
Um, so talking about N64 titles earlier, we've got some possible leaks. I think they're doing some data mining and all the bits and bobs, but aside from all that, there's been a news article and there is a possibility of GoldenEye coming to the N64 expansion.
Yes. Now this is just a wild rumor, but
It is.
there's some bits of information that actually point that that might be the case.
Yeah, so 25 years ago, um, GoldenEye was banned in Germany, and that ban was due to end next year. But for some reason, they've cut it short and have ended it this year instead. So everyone's saying, well, why would they end it a year early unless it was for a reason? And
Yeah.
everyone thinks it may be because they're looking to bring it to the N64 expansion.
Yeah, I think people are just putting these two together though, just because of the timing. So Nintendo have just launched new N64 games as part of their expansion to their online service, and either a person, entity, whoever it is, has actually asked for this ban to be lifted early, even though it would have expired next year anyway. Potentially, it could be, but I think equally as likely is maybe it could be coming to Xbox. We talked about it a few months ago, the leaked version
Yeah,
of the Xbox 360 version.
yeah, we did. It's I know it is a long list of coincidences, but it's a long list of coincidences that makes sense.
Yes.
It's pointing somewhere. You've got to think, well, why is ban ended early? It has come at the exact same time they've released the N64
Yes.
expansion, and they all just sort of fit together. Um, so it could be nothing, but it's a substantial rumor that's got together and fitted well. If it wasn't ending, the fact it ended next year brought it forward as well.
Yes. When they're
Massively.
so close to the end of the ban anyway. Personally, I think that if they are bringing this to the Switch, I hope they do also bring it to the Xbox, but an enhanced port. Because as much as I love playing this game back in the back in the day, it's not even the potato hands. It just doesn't control very well. Like even the new, well, I say new, even the re-release of Perfect Dark on the Xbox 360, they upgraded the controls. If this is going to come to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion bundle pass, whatever they call it, it's going to be the N64 version. It's not going to
Yeah,
play very well.
I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what might come of it. GoldenEye, I didn't really play a great deal of it when it was on the N64. I know I played a little bit of it, but
Oh, I
It
just
wasn't really
remember raging at
around
Phil
much.
for picking bloody Odd Job. It was difficult to aim up and down, and Odd Job was just short enough that your default height that you would fire would go over his head. Optimizing fun out of games.
What been the short testing?
Yeah. I would definitely prefer an enhanced version rather than just a straight chuck the ROM on
Port
Nintendo
across.
Online sort of thing.
Yeah.
Especially with how bad some of the other ports have been so far.
I was about to say, yeah, graphical issues. And then also, aside from having, the difficulty you had with the controls, having a latency issue with that as well.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be honest, I don't remember GoldenEye being the most responsive for games to begin with.
I think there was some other games though that they've data mined out, haven't they?
Well, yeah, so part of that data mine, what they found is the games were in a table, alphabetically ordered, and there's 38 slots for titles.
Okay.
Now, putting in some of the games that we know that's coming up, such as Majora's Mask and Banjo and Kazooie, they've kind of guessed what some of the other titles might be. So it looks like we might actually get the original Smash Brothers,
Okay.
Wave Race, and Mario Party. After that, it's a bit up in the air.
I guess, Smash coming to it, I think that's quite a fun title. I can see why they're bringing the original Smash
Yeah.
across, definitely. Mario Party, again, same with that one. Wave Race, I don't really know much about, so it just goes over my head.
I've never played the N64 version, but the GameCube version, when I saw it, just blew my mind how great that game looked. Absolutely amazing.
You look back at it now and go, what is that?
Oh no, some GameCube games. That
Oh, I
and
know.
Rogue Squadron. I remember the first time one of the maps went down. There's an 8080 walking across the water, and you can see the reflection in the water. I was just like, "How do games get any better?" But spoiler, they did, but at the time, just the jumping quality between the N64, Saturn, and PlayStation to the GameCube, and then a bit later, once I got the Xbox, the original Xbox, it was just outstanding.
That's me. Just over time, the way it's jumped. But
And then somehow modern
if
consoles like the Switch are making the old games look even worse.
I was just about to say, if they bring wave, they'll bring Wave Race across, and you're looking, but like, what have you done?
So we potentially could be getting a lot more N64 games, but they play poorly. And if Nintendo do release a digital only version of the Switch, do not buy it. It's a bad investment.
Yeah, it's an understatement of the century.
Well, that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed what you listened to, we would really appreciate it if you could take a moment out of your day and just leave us a review on your favourite podcasting app. It really helps us grow the podcast.
Also, if you'd like to support the podcast or listen to any of our previous episodes, you can visit us at retrogamingdads.co.uk. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.